We are all looking for adventure. We are all looking for adventure.
Well, hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Marriage Adventure Podcast. We're your hosts, Daniel and Bonnie Hoover. And today we're going to talk about something that feels especially important this week after Christmas and heading into the new year. And that is how to live on mission in this next new year, 2026.
And if you're listening today and your marriage feels a little bit disconnected, I know sometimes after the holidays that can happen, and with all the family in and out and all the busyness, and maybe you're feeling a little stuck or maybe just tired, then this episode's for you, because we're not talking about doing more. We're talking about living with purpose together.
Yeah, so many couples, Bonnie, they don't have a bad marriage. They're just drifting, right? You have a purposeless marriage and you just kind of drift. And it's something about this week after Christmas and before the new year where it's kind of a lazy week. You kind of lay on the couch a little more, watch TV a little more.
It's kind of a letdown after,
Kind of a letdown.
yeah.
But also it's kind of that I'll start Monday week. New Year doesn't start on a Monday this week, but it's kind of that mentality. As soon as that New Year rolls over, that's when I'll start it with my diet or with whatever, and
goals,
and which I think is so important for marriage and family. And so many marriages you just drifted last year, and maybe you're thinking, man, we stayed busy, we were just kind of reactive to things and getting through life instead of really moving forward together on mission. And what better time, right?
Yep, and we've seen it over and over in our own marriage and in other couples that we coach, that when a marriage doesn't have a shared mission, it slowly loses connection, even if nothing's, per se wrong in the relationship.
Yeah, so today we're going to talk about what it actually looks like practically to live on mission as a couple this next year in 2026.
Yep.
So all right, so to jump in, I shared this story. If you haven't seen my weekly marriage coaching on YouTube, go over and check that out. And I shared this story on that, but I can, because we're in podcast form, I can go into a little deeper,
Story time with Daniel.
So when I was a teenager, talking about drifting, I don't know. Let's see. My brother Jeff, who's 4 years older than me, had just gotten his Eagle Scout. So every male in my family, my granddad, my dad, my three older brothers, me, a couple of my nephews are all Eagle Scouts. And so Jeff had just gotten his Eagle Scout award. And so I think he was like 17, 16, 17. So that would have put me like 13. Is that right? 4 years younger. And so I was 12 or 13. And Jeff and his friend, I think his name was Keith, wanted to go fishing. And so I was like, yeah, I want to go. And so we had a little John boat and little aluminum sided boat. And so we went down to this little pond called Tompkins Pond. Mr. Tompkins went to our church. He had a little pond there. And so we put the boat in, and it was dark. So we were going to do some night fishing. We had a little light. We were going to set in the water and fish. And so we get the boat in the water. We had a little trolling motor, and we get out in the water and we realize we forgot the bait. We had no bait, which would have meant get back out, pull it, go home. I mean, just a pain. So we were like, let's just we'll putz around for a little bit in the little pond area, and then we'll go home. And so we did. And connected to the pond was really a swamp, trees and everything. And so the further back we went, we're like, oh man, this is cool. We're kind of exploring. And then we hit an opening. And we just kind of sat there in the opening for a minute, and I looked up, and it's so pretty, and we're like, okay, this is great. Let's head back now. And so we started to head back. But we weren't heading back. We were heading deeper into the swamp. And we kept going and going and going. And, of course, this is this is late 80s, so there's no cell phones. There's no GPS tracking. There's no dropping a pin, right? We didn't know any of that language then. And so we just keep going
back
further.
in the olden days.
Right, back in last century. Back further and further into the swamp we went. And we ended up spending the night in that swamp, in the boat, mosquitoes. It was the most miserable night of my life. Like I'm freezing. It's in the middle of summer, but at night it gets cold, especially back there. mosquitoes are biting you, you got to pee, so you're peeing out of the boat and all this kind of stuff, your guys. And so there's no food, so you're hungry, you're thirsty, there's no water. And so finally that morning, the sun starts coming up, and we're like, okay, what are we going to do? Like, our parents are worried sick.
I'm sure.
And so so we just start hearing helicopters overhead. And we were like, kidding, like, oh, what if they're for us? Well, they really were.
Oh my
Our
gosh.
parents had called the police, and then they called civil defense because they knew we were fishing and where we were. And so they sent civil defense helicopters out, and then they sent a boat back for us. They heard us, they're like on the bridge yelling with megaphones, and finally we're yelling back, and they send a boat out for us, and then they get us out. They kind of get stuck trying to get out, and we get home, and everything was fine. But I've never let my brother live it down. Eagle Scout gets lost in the woods.
So much for being an Eagle Scout.
Yeah, exactly. And so, but that's a great illustration of what happens in marriage, right?
Yeah.
You go into marriage with this
Wait,
plan.
are you saying that marriage is like a swamp?
It can be, yes. You go into marriage with this plan. You go into the marriage with these great aspirations and all the stuff you want to do, and you get in there, and then all of a sudden you may realize, oh, we don't have the tools to do what we want to do, or the drive, or the vision, or the purpose, or whatever. And you just kind of putz around for a little bit, and then you just drift further, and you realize we're stuck, and then mosquitoes are biting you and all that, whatever the mosquitoes are. Those little kids, they start biting.
Right.
And so, but that happens in so many relationships and so many marriages. You don't get lost. You just feel like you get stuck. And
and that's exactly how a lot of marriages feel. They're not broken. They're just stuck, and you're paddling hard, but you're not sure where you're headed. You just have we're like, okay, anywhere, or where are we going? I guess we're together, but we don't know where we're going.
That's right.
If you and your spouse are longing to grow deeper in your relationship with the Lord and each other, try one of our at-home signature courses. These step-by-step courses will help you to reset, realign, and rekindle your marriage with Christ at the center. You'll get clear teaching, practical exercises, downloadable couples guides, and tools you can use this week, plus options to learn at your pace or together over a weekend. You can enroll in a course that fits you. Simply go to themarriageadventure.com/courses.
All right, so what do you do when you feel like maybe last year we were just stuck? We were just kind of drifting, or we didn't really have a plan. We got a lot of stuff going on, right? We got work, we got kids' functions, we got all this stuff. Dinner comes every night. Laundry never stops.
Yes.
But what do you do when you just kind of feel like you're drifting and you're kind of stuck? And so I think you got to decide, hey, we want to have a mission for this next year, right? And what better time to start than the first week of it? And so I think that's the biggest thing, is mission starts with a decision, not a feeling.
We're going to do this.
Yeah, because if you gauge the way I'm feeling right now, dude, I'm coming down off sugar highs. I feel like sitting on the couch and watching movies this week, and I probably will. I think I watched 3 movies yesterday. But mission starts with a decision.
Yeah.
Hey, we're going to do this,
Yeah, well, and most couples, most of the time we don't ever explicitly agree that, okay, we've got a purpose. We know what we're doing here. We know where we're going. I mean, we get a purpose for, okay, it's the new year. We need to tighten down on our finances. We need to tighten down on our eating. We need to tighten down on schedules and all those things. Let's get back at it. But it's hard sometimes to sit down and agree on what does a mission look like for us as a couple.
Yeah. Well, why do we, okay, so think about that. Why do we tighten down on our eating in the new year? Because we have a mirror.
Yeah.
And we have scales, and
it's time.
It's time. And that mirror shows you, okay, things are different than they used to be, right? And then you feel bad and different things like that. So what is that mirror for our marriage to let us know, hey, it's time?
Well, I think that
I shocked you with that
you
question.
did. I was like, that ain't
Not
on the
prepared.
script. But yeah, I mean, I think you just start feeling that disconnect. You start feeling that, okay, we're not on the same page. I don't feel, and I think sometimes women might feel that more quickly than men. It's that I just feel a little disconnected. I don't know where we're going. We're not, yeah, we're getting some stuff done because we have to. It's out of necessity, but maybe we're not doing our date nights anymore. Maybe we've kind of stopped. Maybe the intimacy's grown cold or different things like that. It's kind of a telltale sign, a dashboard light of maybe we're just not connected anymore. And
Do you feel like sometimes men might feel like they have mission in their jobs, and so therefore they don't feel like that needs to happen at home?
You can probably speak to that because you're a man, but I think probably, I mean, I think it can be frustrating probably for a wife to see her husband be so driven at home and then not have the drive.
You
when
mean
they,
it-
I mean,
driven
driven
at
at work and then not have the drive at home.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe they've used it all up at work.
Or driven even worse with hobbies,
Yeah.
because so many guys are so passionate about their hobbies, whether it be hunting or whether it be golfing or different things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's great to have a hobby, but when that overtakes and supersedes what you're doing at home and in your marriage and all that with your family, then it can be very destructive.
Yeah, and frustrating. But I
Yeah.
think if you don't decide what we're going to, I think if you don't decide together that we're going to have a mission, that you're going to drift. It's going to inevitably, it's just going to happen. You're going to just keep getting dragged deeper into the swamp without even realizing that you're going there. And so I think when couples don't decide it together, then inevitably drift's going to happen.
Yeah, and I don't think any of those things, whether it be kids or job or hobby, I don't think that those reside outside of a family or marriage mission. I think they fall underneath that umbrella of it. And the family and marriage mission help drive, it brings purpose to those things within the family and within the marriage and all of that.
So where do we start with that? If we're wanting to, in the new year, kind of get on the same page with where we're going, how do we start with that?
Well, I think first we have to clarify direction for this season because life is in seasons. And so maybe you're in the season where you're pre-kids, you're newer in marriage and you don't have kids, or maybe you have young kids, or maybe you have teenagers,
Maybe empty
or
nest.
maybe empty nesters. Life is in seasons, and I think we have to approach it that way.
Yeah.
And I think that really helps. It helps for me to be able to say, okay, during this season, I remember there was a season of my life in my 20s and 30s, I did a lot of running, did a lot of races, did a lot of different things, marathons and triathlons. And when kids came into the picture in my late 30s, that started really taking away from that. And I remember you looking at me and saying, hey, I don't mind you having this hobby, I don't mind you running, but these things are taking a lot of time and a lot of money, and we need to look at that.
Yeah.
And so it helped me to be able to say, you know what, this is a season, and when this season's, over, I'll only get this season once.
Yeah.
I can go back to this hobby later
That
when
we
the kids are
won't, yeah.
older, or maybe the kids can participate with me if it's a hobby they like. So I think we have to take life in seasons. There's a phrase I use a lot, and I don't know if I made it up or not, but I don't know if I got it from somewhere or what. I'm going to claim it. But we can have everything we want. We just can't have it all and at the same time.
Yeah.
So we might have to pause on some of it to get it later or to do something later.
That's good.
So I don't think it has to be, mission doesn't have to be lifelong.
Yeah.
You have a lifelong mission.
And
and
that's
maybe
the pursuit of Christ.
yes, there is an overarching lifelong mission in the pursuit of Christ, but but there's seasonal missions that God has you on. Like right now, our kids are teenagers, and we're in this 4-year, window
it's kind of
season.
a mentoring.
Yeah, until Colby, he's 14, so until we just kind of have 18 out there when he graduates high school. I'm sure it'll go a little longer than that, but we're in this season right now that kind of dictates what we do in ministry and hobbies and all of that because
because
we're at
finances we still have.
Yeah.
It's the most expensive season of life so far.
Yeah.
But
it
yeah,
is.
so I think it's good if we can take it. It's kind of like eating an elephant one bite at a time. Look at your mission, focus on this year. just this year and this season. And I know we do that. We pull out our whiteboard at the beginning of every year and let's say look back at the last year.
Our family does.
Yes, and then look at where we're going next year, and that reduces the pressure and the overwhelm. If I can just look at this next year and say, what are we going to do with our time and our energy and our finances and focus? Where's that going to be over this next year? I can focus on this year if I'm not like looking at forever, you know?
Yeah, and every teenager loves it when parents pull out the whiteboard.
Oh yeah, ours actually do.
Actually, they do because
Yeah.
we kind of make it fun. It's an annual thing. Our kids love tradition, and I think most kids do. And so what we do is years ago we came up with a family mission statement, core values, and so every year, Bonnie, you make a good meal, make like this pumpkin cobbler with ice cream, and it's so good. And we meet down here in our quote-unquote barn, and we pull out the whiteboard and we start saying, okay, last year, these were the quote-unquote buckets we invested in, areas. This is what God told us to do. What's he telling us to do this year, you know?
Yep.
And now that our kids are teenagers and older teenagers,
They've got their own
they've
bucket
got their
list.
own buckets
Yep.
that they're investing in and their own ministry separate from family. And so so that's really cool. Our kids actually kind of like it and look forward to it. So yeah, you're not asking what we're going to do forever, but God, what are you inviting us into in 2026? And so then what you have to do is once you determine that is you align your life around that mission.
Yeah, this is where the rubber meets the road and it gets hard.
Yeah, the diet is easy December 31st.
Sure.
Because in your mind, oh, cool, I'm already there. This is this. I got this written down. This is what I'm going to do.
And then you get invited to go out to a restaurant where it's serving all your favorite things, and you're like, ugh.
Yep. I mean, I literally just, as I was telling that story,
Yep, I
just thought because we're trying to get sugar out of our system going into the new year, like
you just said
we
pumpkin
should.
cobbler.
And I just said we're going to have pumpkin cobbler.
I know.
My mind already was thinking, oh, how am I going to work that around? You know.
Right.
So that is when it gets tough, is when you have to start putting the rubber on the road.
Yeah, because then you've got to say, these are the things that we that do align with our mission. Here are the things that don't. And when those things come knocking on the door that don't, it's really hard to say no to them, like the pumpkin cobbler. You know, it's like, okay, well, we can't go and do this thing because we are saving for something else, or we can't go do this thing because we've already invested our time and energy in something else, and that's just going to steal away from what we're really called to, and that's hard.
Yeah, because I also think within your family mission, you might have different aspects of it that you're each tasked differently or called to differently.
Yeah.
Right. And so I think it'd be good for us to share kind of what God's called you to at this season and maybe how we have to align our life and ministry to that.
Yeah. So, I mean,
and that's not on the script either.
It's not. And I don't like it when you do that to me. So yeah, just the calling to, in this season, to really invest in our children. And I mean, there's always been that call to do that, but in this season right now in particular, it's like, this is the one last chance for the next 4 years that I'll get to be a stay-at-home mom with our kids and have full-time investment in them. And I've seen over the last couple of years as we've launched the marriage adventure just how it's hard for me to split my focus between the two time-wise, and our kids are at a place where they're they need me as much or more now. Like we were just talking to Josie about, schooling, and they homeschool. Career choices
college.
And helping with, I think I've kind of phoned it in a little bit with their school stuff in the last year or so because they're online, but just to help invest in them with that and help them reach their goals for the next 4 years is going to take a lot of emotional, physical, and mental energy from me. And so pulling back from the day-to-day of the marriage adventure so that I can see that through well for the next 4 years, that I can continue to get Colby to the things he needs to get driven to without feeling like I'm cheating him, that I need to pull back some in the marriage adventure over the next year, couple of years.
You'll still be on the podcast,
yes,
right?
Yes, I'll still be on the podcast.
This will be one place you'll still be.
Yes.
Yeah, and so you have to, that goes back to this point we're trying to make is you have to align your life around the mission.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes that's hard
Mm-hmm.
because it was really hard for me to hear, hey, I need to pull back from the marriage adventure. But at the same time, I want you to be with the kids because that's the greater investment.
Mm-hmm. And it's short term.
And it's short term.
And
We've
it
only
feels
got a
shorter
few
and shorter.
years.
Yes.
It is getting shorter and shorter. And so, so you have to, so to do that, I'm having to pick up some of that. I'm having to divvy out some of that responsibility that you have, find new ways to do it, to free you up. And so that's the hardest part. Coming up with the mission isn't the hardest part. It's actually aligning your life, implementing it. And that takes your calendar, your money, energy to tell the truth, which was probably one of the harder things in that for you.
Yeah.
You know, to
is
be able
admitting
to
I can't
have to
do
tell me
everything and to say
Yeah.
that, to feel like I'm letting you down in some way. And but yeah.
And then the mission becomes the filter for decisions.
Yes.
And so
there's only one of me. There's only
That's right.
And there's only one of us as a couple. And so, you're one couple. And so there are only so many things that we can give our time and energy to, and we have to make decisions. Every yes means there's going to be a string of no's that would have to be said, and those are hard. The no's are hard. They're harder than the yeses for sure. So every time we say yes to something, it's saying no to something else, and we have to choose that wisely based on what we're called to in our mission.
Yeah. And so this is where you start making those purposeful decisions, right? And then I think the next thing is as you do that, moving together, but it's not going to happen perfectly, right? There's going to be some bumps along the way, but that's okay. You lean in instead of leaning out with each other. And so I think with so many couples, waiting for perfection or certainty just stalls them. It's that there's a phrase I'm thinking of.
Paralyzation by analyzation or something like that.
That was almost it.
I don't know. Well, I get
Yes.
paralyzed when I overanalyze things.
Yes.
And it's like, how's this going to work? How's it, and I can overthink things to a point I just get stalled and don't do anything.
Yep.
And it's happened
It happened with this, what we were just talking about.
It did.
Because you got to the point to where you're like, you can't do that. How do you do this?
I
You
couldn't
can't do
solve
this
it in my
without me.
head before telling you.
And I'm sitting here thinking, you're like, how would you do that? And I'm like, Bonnie, I didn't know how I would do any of this
That's right.
5 years ago, right?
Right.
But God has built it, and if He's calling you away, then He's certainly going to provide on this
Absolutely.
end. And so it's that trusting Him that when He gives this mission, He'll give you the resources and the ability to do it.
Well, and it's that idea that obedience will bring about clarity. If we just can take a step in obedience toward the yes, then God will clarify it as you walk. I know Josie's making plans for her future and trying to prepare for college and all those things at this point, and it's all fuzzy. But just take one step at a time, and it becomes more and more clear as you walk. It's God says that His Word is a lamp unto our feet and a light unto our path, and that He gives us one little. He just lights one step at a time.
Yep.
He doesn't provide the big spotlight that sees way out into the field, into the distance. He just gives you the one step where you are right now. As you go, it provides more and more clarity.
Yeah, when we first did our family mission statement back in 2019, I think, I would have never guessed then we'd be doing what we're doing now. I mean, we are in a totally different season. We're still on mission.
Yeah.
We're still living the same mission and purpose. We're just doing it in a different way. And as we walked...
In a different place.
Different place. But as we walked with Him and as we lived life, staying on mission, He unveiled next with every step. It reminds me of when I was a kid, I used to love the Indiana Jones movies, right? Child of the 80s.
Oh, yeah.
And so there was one movie to where I can't remember which one it was, but he's in this massive cave and he's got to jump to the other side of this big crevice, opening. And there's a bridge there, but it's an invisible bridge. And so he has to take the first step.
A leap of faith.
And when he takes the first step, then that portion of the bridge
appears.
And then the next and the next. And that's kind of like it is walking in mission on mission with the Lord is that we trust and we obey, and with every step, He begins to reveal the next. And the great thing about that is, what does that do for your marriage relationship?
It brings a lot of unity. When you've got a goal of
And
something,
aggravation.
yes, but it does unify you when you accomplish things together and you're on the same page, and this is what we've decided as a couple, and we're of one heart and one mind in that. We can go back to it and we can keep saying, this is what we're going to do, this is where we're moving, and it brings about unity. Now, it might be messy. It might be messy in the process as you're figuring it out, but God doesn't require perfection. He just wants us to be obedient to what He's called us to, that He's written on our heart and given us as a couple.
Yep.
So,
And then you have to, once you start putting the rubber on the road, right? And once you start taking finances and aligning with it, taking your calendar and your time, once you start saying no to certain things, then you have to revisit that mission throughout the year. It requires regular check-ins, or in the business world, you'd call those KPIs. What are key performance indicators? Those little goals, like you said, eating an elephant, right?
yeah.
So what are the little bites I'm going to take this month, this quarter? And then in the spring, what are the little indicators that's going to let us know, hey, we're still on mission? And then in the fall, what are those little indicators? You have to revisit the mission throughout the year. And
Well, and every time you have a season change, every time something, you have to keep going through it. Like when we enter a new season, we need to look at this again. And, we're going to see as I transition, we're going to look at this again in the spring and say, okay, where are we with all this? Are we still, how is this working? What do we need to do to tweak this? It's going to take a while to figure all this out. As God moves you into new seasons, you've got to make sure you're coming back to that bullseye. Are we hitting the target with our mission every time?
Yeah, sailors will call that dead reckoning, right? Are we dead reckoning back to the mission, back to our coordinates of where we're going? Because if you don't, then you'll drift. And alignment and dead reckoning is what protects against drifting over the year and different things.
And this is where when we work together on something and we make our goals and we pull together on it, it brings about this aspect of teamwork in our marriage, and it deepens our friendship. If you've ever worked on a project with people at work, you get in the thick of stuff and you work hard and you reach goals, and it kind of brings about this camaraderie in your teammates and all, and in our marriage it will deepen our friendship and bring us closer as we're moving towards our goal and our mission.
Yeah. Hopefully, as we've been talking and we've kind of talked about our ministry and our family and all, I pray that as you've been listening, you've had thoughts in your head about man, we have felt stuck, or we have been drifting, or God's putting on our heart a mission as a family. And underneath that umbrella, there's going to be a lot of little missions during this season of your life. And so you might be thinking, yeah, this sounds great, but we still don't know how to figure this out on our own.
Oh, well, and that's normal.
Yeah.
I mean, most couples don't say, okay, this is a great idea, have a mission, now we got to figure it all out. Well, we don't know how to do that. Well, most couples want to live on mission. They don't have a process or know exactly what to do to get there, to discover what it is together.
Yep, and that's why we're here, right?
Yeah.
So that's why we created the Marriage on Mission mini course for you guys. And it's designed to help walk you through a step-by-step process of discovering God's direction for your marriage, practically and prayerfully. And what I'll do in this mini course, it's 3 sessions. In session number 1, I will lead you and your spouse through a strategy session of coming up with a family marriage mission statement and core values. So at the end of session 1, you'll have that. It'll be done. And then the end of session 2, then I'll help walk you through creating goals for this next year based on that mission statement. So financial goals and relationship goals and family goals and investments that you'll make. And then in session 3, I'll help give you some practical tips as for your marriage so that you can avoid the drift in your relationship. And so it's a really practical 3-step course, 3-session course.
And I love that you've made it so easy for couples to just kind of walk through it, because it helps them slow down, ask the right questions, really listen to the Lord, and take time to talk to each other, and then to build that mission statement that they can actually live out. It's very practical.
Yeah.
If you don't know where to start, this is a great tool that Daniel's provided for you.
Yeah, and I encourage you, if you get this tool and you do it, get away for the weekend. Like, go get an Airbnb, go get a cabin, or ship the kids out for the weekend, and take 2 days. You could do it in 2 days, 3 sessions, 2 or 3 days, and really, really put in the investment and do the work, because it's going to be really incredible. And so we want to make that offer to you. And so if you're tired of drifting and you're ready to move forward together, we'd love to walk with you.
And you can find the Marriage on Mission mini course linked in the show notes below.
Yep, or just go to themarriageadventure.com and you'll find it right there underneath our signature courses. So listen, don't just survive 2026. Don't just say, hey, I'm going to go on a diet. Man, bring your whole life, marriage, and family under that mission and live on mission together, and it will change your life. It'll change your marriage, and it'll bring a lot of purpose to it. So thanks so much for joining us today. Hey, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and also check us out on YouTube, my weekly marriage coaching on that at The Marriage Adventure. See you next time.
We are all